Hello! Today I picked an interactive drama horror game I played in January 2025, which took me about 35 hours to finish. The Quarry. It has 40 achievements and none of them are really skill based. It's all about making specific decisions throughout the story, and that's where things get tricky. The biggest issue here is replayability. Not because the story gets boring, it doesn't. You can make a ton of different choices and get completely different outcomes. The problem is that you can't skip cutscenes at all. So every time you replay the game, you are basically sitting again and again through what feels like a 7-hour movie, just in cutscenes alone. And why is this a bad thing? Because these achievements require you to find almost all interactions and endings, which forces you into a minimum of 2.5 playthroughs. And if you are like me, you played it once without worrying about achievements, to enjoy the story and to see how many characters you can keep alive until the end. Mine went horribly, by the way. I think 1 or 2 people made it and even they might have been infected. So yeah, that turns into almost 4 playthroughs in total, which is basically watching something like the Hobbit marathon 4 times without being able to skip anything. It gets rough. The one upside is that it pushes you into something I actually enjoy in achievement hunting: planning. From what I've seen, you might be able to finish everything in about 2.5 playthroughs if you plan it perfectly. I'll link a guide by Raimi that shows an optimized route, but I didn't personally use it, so don't blindly trust it. Double check things as you plan. There's also a guide by ThePugHybrid that explains all achievements, which is useful for cross-referencing with the guide by Raimi. One important thing, after finishing the game once, you unlock Chapter Select, but it's not as helpful as it may sound. If you go back to, say, Chapter 5, the game deletes everything after that, and you have to play all the way to the end again. You unfortunately cannot just jump around and fix small things. You are basically committing to another half run. Alright, ratings. Again, just a reminder, these are personal, so your experience might be completely different. Story, 9 out of 10. I enjoyed the story a lot. The only thing I can think of pointing out, and maybe it's just me, is that the way the group is composed feels a bit like a diversity checklist. Having black, Asian, gay and white characters all thrown together feels statistically very unlikely. It honestly sounds like one of those jokes that starts with an American, a German and a Frenchman walk into a bar. For me, stuff like this breaks the immersion. It reminds me I'm just consuming media instead of being fully lost in the story. That aside, the choices actually matter, and the different endings feel meaningful depending on who lives and who doesn't, which is exactly what I want from this kind of game. I've seen a lot of people compare it to Until Dawn, but I haven't played that one, so I can't really say anything there. On its own though, I think the story here is solid. Gameplay experience, 3 out of 10. I don't remember every detail, but what stuck with me is how underwhelming the quick time events are. 90% of them consist of holding a button for 10 seconds, mashing a key, or pressing the right direction. Nothing creative, nothing interesting. There's also one moment where you have to shoot a monster, but since there are 2 of them and the camera cuts every second, you aren't even sure if your character is pointing at the right one before your 2 seconds to decide are up. I lost half of the characters in that moment, which was very irritating. And the frustrating part is, in real life you would clearly see what's happening. The confusion comes purely from the camera angles, not the situation itself. Other than that, it's mostly just a movie, which is of course expected for this genre. I also noticed some awkward animations here and there, characters not quite lining up properly, weird movement, small things, but they can pull you out of the moment. Achievements, 6 out of 10. The achievements themselves are fine. The problem is how they interact with the game. Because of the forced replays and unskippable cutscenes, going for 100% becomes more of a chore than it should be. So even if the achievements are well designed on paper, they don't feel great in practice. There are also 13 secret achievements, but here it actually makes sense since they hide story spoilers, so no issue there. Difficulty, easy. First, I thought I would put it in the medium category, since if you plan the playthroughs badly, each additional playthrough is like a sucker punch to the gut. but then I thought to myself, just don't plan it badly, bro. The whole game is just watching a movie, no skill needed. To wrap it up, I really like the game and especially the story. I would probably even enjoy replaying it to see different outcomes if I could skip the stuff I've already seen. And as always, if you have any questions or just want to share your thoughts, feel free to stop by my stream or leave a comment below. See ya!